Hey guys, welcome to another top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 least favorite, or what I think are the worst Survivor players. This is my opinion. I think these are the worst of the worst. I've been watching Survivor for so long, and I love the show of Survivor so much. And I think these players just don't understand the game. They just don't know how to play the game. And I've never seen such embarrassment from these players when I watch them on their seasons. And quite a few of these players have played multiple times, and they've sucked multiple times. So again, this is just strictly opinion. These are just, in my opinion, what I think are the worst Survivor players. Again, just my opinion. So let's get to it. Coming at number 10 is Purple Kelly from Survivor Nicaragua. Purple Kelly is one of the most invisible Survivor players I've ever seen. Like, her camera time is just embarrassing. Like, you never see her, and you never see her play the game. Her entire time on Survivor Nicaragua was just sitting there on the beach, waiting for someone else to do the moves. She was basically dragged to the jury, and when she made it to jury, she quit the game. She literally didn't play the game. She was there the entire time of Survivor and never played the game. She sat on her ass and did nothing to help the challenges. She never did anything strategically or socially. She made it to the merge because people just forgot she was there. And then when she made it to the merge, a couple episodes later, she quit the game. Yes, Nyanka quit the game too, and the reason Nyanka is not on this list is because I genuinely believe if Nyanka didn't quit the game, she could have made it far. As despicable as Nyanka was, she found an idol. She was actually playing the game. Purple Kelly just didn't know what the hell she was doing. She is literally the most invisible player to ever play Survivor, and she'll never be brought back again. She is just that horrendous at the game. All right, number 9 is Zane Knight from Philippines. You would be shocked to hear that not every person on this top 10 are first boots. Because I don't genuinely believe if you're first boot, you're the worst player. No. I've seen players get booted first because they're actually a threat to the game, and people just play too strong so early, and they take people out right in the beginning just because they're strong players. And I've just seen tribes make dumb decisions and stuff. So, like, not every first boot are the worst players. However, there are a few first boots that are the worst players, and Zane Knight is one of them. Zane has no idea how to play the game. Literally, his strategic move was when, after they lost the immunity challenge, he went to, like, Russell, Denise, and Malcolm, and everybody, and he basically just asked them to vote him out. So you're like, oh, he's quitting the game. But no, that was his strategic move. His strategic move was asking his tribe to vote him out. But in his brain, he's like, I'm going to ask them, but they're not going to vote me out because my social game is so good. They're going to be begging me to stay, and I'm going to stay. And I'm like, you've only known these players for 3 days. Your social game can't be that strong. So that was his big strategic move, is ask his tribe to vote him out, but he doesn't want to get voted out. It was literally the stupidest. It's really one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they keep you if you say, vote me out? Like, that is so fucking stupid. Zane is a really bad player, and he won't be invited back. Number 8. Interesting pick, I think. I don't know if everyone will agree with this, but I think he's a bad player. Brandon Hanse from South Pacific. Okay, I don't have him for Caramon because his wasn't even really a quit in Caramon. It was basically him getting kicked off the show because him and Philip were fighting and stuff, and the tribe was basically going to throw the match and vote Brandon off anyway. So I'm not going to count Caramon because I don't know how Brandon would have played in Survivor Caramon. I'm going to just count South Pacific. His game in South Pacific is terrible. Legit awful. He played the worst game that entire season and one of the worst games I've seen. is nothing like Russell Hanse. I have Russell Hanse on my shirt, actually. Russell Hanse. He's nothing like his uncle Russell. Russell plays the game very strategically, very powerhouse, very cutthroat. He's a good physical player as well. He just lacks a social game, but he's still a strategic powerhouse and one of the smartest players I've ever seen play the game. Brandon tried a different approach because he knew Russell created a lot of bad blood for the Hanse family, and he was playing with coach and stuff. So he tried to be a social player, play a social game, but even his social game was very lacking. No one trusted Brandon, and they thought Brandon was a little unedged, and he still had that Hanse aggressiveness, but he tried to play it off like, oh, he's still nice, but it came off as passive-aggressive. And he was never going to go to the end, no matter what. He was never going to go to the end of the game. And he never won a lot of comps, and when he did win a immunity challenge, he gave his necklace up, just like Eric did in Micronesia. And I'll be getting to Eric. But just like Eric did in Micronesia, he gave his necklace up, and then they voted him out. Really stupid move. He completely trusted every member of his tribe, and not a single one of them liked or respected him. It's like, that's a bad game. If you are relying on your social game, but no one likes you or trusts you, your social game sucks. And when you win, when you win immunity, you don't ever give it up. There's only one person who's ever given up immunity and did it really smart. That was Jenna in Survivor Amazon. That was the only time I've ever seen someone give up their necklace for another person, and it was actually a good strategic move. Anytime someone else does it, it's stupid, and Brandon Hanse did it, and therefore he's on this list. All right, number 7, we got Chicken Morris from China. Dang. Dang. Chicken is on this list is because this is a great example of how you can get booted first. His social game was horrendous. He literally pissed everybody off, and he tried to be very manipulative and controlling and bossy, and they weren't having it, and they voted his fucking ass out. He was also a very weak old man and not a good physical player, and he didn't know how to strategize. He should have known he was going home first, but he didn't scramble. He didn't try to get anyone on his side. He just believed his tribe knew he was a good worker, and they keep him around. But they didn't. He was an awful player. Like, Chicken didn't really, again, just a lot of these players, I put these players on this list is because I just believe they don't understand the game of Survivor, and they just don't know how to play the game of Survivor. And that's why Chicken's on this list. He doesn't understand the game. And I could say I think he's one of the most just misunderstood players, and not in a good way. Just he's misunderstood because he doesn't understand the game of Survivor, and that's why he's one of the worst players. All right, number 6 is Chet Walsh from Micronesia. Chet is literally the guy who dragged his tribe down. Like, he lost a lot of challenges for his tribe. His tribe was losing solely because Chet was one of the worst physical competitors I've seen. And it's nothing to do with him being old, because I've seen a lot of old people on Survivor kick a lot of ass. Look at Tom Westman, man. Kicked ass. Chet was just terrible. He was just a useless player. And everybody hated him. and when it came to do a strategic move, he had an alliance, and they could have done a big powerhouse move and maybe taken control of the game. But no, he asked to be voted out. He didn't quit, but he asked to be voted out. Him and his alliance could have took control of the game, but he's like, no, vote me out. Literally, he was been the worst player of Micronesia, and the one time he could have made a move, he didn't make a move. He gave up. Like a bitch. Sorry, Chet. Just not a good player. Number 5, here we go. Eric from Micronesia and Caramel. I put Eric. Eric is the reason Eric is a worse player than like Brandon Hanse is because Eric should have known better. Brandon, I understand a little more. I still don't understand it because you don't give up immunity, but Brandon thought he had a tight alliance. Eric knew he was on the chopping block. In Micronesia, when it came down, I think it was like, what, final 5? There was literally 4 girls left, and they were literally gunning for Eric. They were gunning for him. He won immunity, and they Poverty all came up with this plan for him to give his necklace up. And he listened to them Why would he listen? That was one of the stupidest things you could do. I understand Brandon's at least a little more because he was aligned with those people from the very beginning of the game. Eric was not aligned from these people from the beginning of the game. Poverty wanted him gone for so long. Like, why would he trust them? Literally, was an all-girl alliance. He was the last guy left. They clearly wanted him gone, and he gave his necklace up. That was really, really stupid of him. I still consider it one of the stupidest moves in all Survivor. It is legit a dumb move. And that's not the only reason why he's on this list. It's because I think his performance in Caramon is still a really bad performance. I don't care if he made to Final 5. I don't care. He did not do anything strategically or physically, or I guess socially. He had a good social game because he was maybe going to go to the Final 3. John Cochran would have, John Cochran right there. John Cochran would have beaten him anyways if it was like Don, him, and Don, Eric, and John Cochran. John Cochran would still get a jury sweep. Well, maybe not jury sweep. Maybe Eric will get a vote, but John Cochran wins that game no matter what. I think Eddie's the only one that maybe can beat him, but John Cochran wins that game no matter what. Eric didn't do any big moves in Caramel. And Eric is the only one that was stupid enough to fall for Malcolm's move when Malcolm had the 2 idols, gave his idol to himself and to Eddie. Everyone else stuck with their guns and voted Malcolm and Eddie because they need to flush the idols. Eric is the only one that flipped his vote to Philip. So Eric is the only one that was stupid enough to fall for Malcolm's move. And Malcolm's move wasn't even all that great. So that's what makes Eric one of the dumbest players. All right, number 4. Lisi from Fiji. If we were just going by just players I hated the most, I think Lisi would be number 1 or 2. She is literally one of the most, I'd say number 2 maybe. I think my number 1 is my worst Survivor player and also my least favorite player. So Lisi is one of the most annoying, irritating players I have ever seen on Survivor. And everything went wrong for her. Like, she doesn't, again, just like Chicken and stuff, she doesn't grasp the game. And the fact that she thinks she is so intelligent and so smart and so brilliant at the game is the most delusional, idiotic thing ever. She just thinks she's so great at the game. She isn't. She's a horrible physical competitor, a terrible strategic player. And again, everybody hated her on the show. And even when it came down to be on the jury, she didn't even ask good jury questions. She asked about Cassandra's shoes, and she asked Dreams how many zeros are at $1 million. Like, this girl is an idiot. And again, she almost gave up halfway through it because she just knew she couldn't win the game. She just literally one of the most irritating players, and just a horrible player. Number 3. I felt bad for putting this girl on number 3, but she has to be on this list. You can't have a worst without Francesca from Redemption Island to Caramon. Like, I feel bad for Francesca because I feel like she actually wants to play the game. She wants to play the game. I believe if she went out a 3rd time, I do believe she can make it farther because I believe the target on her back is so low. I think people would just bring her to like the jury and stuff. I do believe she could actually go far if she played again. Because she is almost labeled as like the worst player ever, no one would ever see her as a threat. So I think that she's that going for her. I feel like she should play the game again. And I feel like she can do better. But her record speaks for itself why she's one of the worst. She is the only player to play the game twice and be voted out first both times. She's the only 2-time first boot player. And that has to put her on this list. She seems such a likable player, and I feel like she can play the game, but no one has ever been a first boot twice, and that is the worst record you can have on Survivor. Literally, no one has a worse record than Francesca. So, sorry, Francesca, you made the list. Number 2 is underrated bad player. John Raymond from Thailand. Underrated bad player because a lot of people just forget about everything from Thailand, which I understand because that's a terrible season. One of the worst seasons ever. But John Raymond is Another guy just doesn't get the game. This is probably the number one player who just doesn't grasp what Survivor is. He just thinks if he bosses people around and controls the tribe and tries to be a leader, you win the game. That's not how Survivor works. Like, he tries to manipulate and bully everybody legit right when they get on the island, and they vote him out first. It doesn't matter even how strong or physical he is. He is literally the stupidest player because he never, ever tried to play the game socially or even strategically. I think he's one of the most underrated bad players. Like, I've never seen a player who just doesn't get the game like John Raymond. So John Raymond, number 2. Number 1 is Colton. Is Colton QB? Whatever. Colton. Y'all know Colton. Colton from One World and Blood versus Water. Colton is the worst player I've ever seen play the game. For me, this is my list. I think he's the worst. I think he's the most despicable, too. He's my least favorite player because Francesca, as much she has the only person to be first boot twice, Colton also has a 2 record that only he has done. He is the only person to quit the game twice. We've had many quitters on the game of Survivor, and I don't respect that. I don't respect it. If you're medically evacuated, that is something different. But when you quit the game, there's no respect. And Jeff Probos doesn't respect that. Colton quit the game twice. That's what makes him one of the worst players. He literally couldn't stick it out 2 times. The first time he played in One World, I could almost put the whole cast of One World in this top 10 list, other than Kim. Like, every player sucked. But Colton tried to control his tribe, but he kept saying, I don't like my tribe. I want to be on the other tribe. And Jeff's like, you shouldn't be saying that to your tribe. This is your tribe. And he tried to get his... And a lot of people might think, like, oh, that's what made him a good player because he got his tribe to like, go voluntarily to tribal council. But no, it actually made his tribe hate him more. So I don't even think he would have made it that far. He would have... The day he left, I think he would have been voted out. Like... Colton will never make the game he will never make it far. He literally just rubs people the wrong way. He is the worst social and strategic player I've ever seen. Even physically, like, he's just a very lazy, rich kid that doesn't want to try or put any effort into it. And when he does Blood versus Water, again, he tries to control the game, but he's playing with all-stars like Jervis and Tyson and what the fuck else is that season? I'm trying to think of good players. Tina. Like, these are people who've won the game and know the game, and they're not going to let him take control of it. And then what does he do? He cries about it and quits. He is legit the most pathetic player I've ever seen play the game of Survivor. And I can't stand him, and I legit think he's the worst. So, Colton. So, yeah, that's my top 10 worst Survivor players, in my opinion. So, the comment section below, please tell me, what do you guys think are the top 10 worst players to play the game of Survivor? Give me thoughts and opinions. Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.